Well, it's time for main event. And I guess it's more like mainly evident that it sucks. Now, it wasn't that bad this week, but there's still a lot of problems. Now, before you PG defenders fucking shove your fist up my ass in the comments, Kofi and Miz was a pretty decent match. Now, I still have problems with it, like the fact that it went 20 minutes, and I don't really think it was worth more than 3 stars. Now, when you have a 20-minute match, I feel like that match should be at least 4 stars or more, because they're giving you an ass load of time right there. And they wasted their time with like chin locks and shit like that. There was a lot of commercial breaks, but they can't really help that on TV. Oh man, there's a shitload of fucking commercials on this used to be the PAX channel. Now it's Ion. I felt like it could have been better. And I know that is something that a lot of wrestling fans have a problem with. When there is a good match, like, nobody wants to, like, look beyond it, like, think outside the box. It could have been better. Now, I know you could say, well, Brad, any match could be better. No, because when you factor in the time that they gave them all this fucking time to work with, it could have been so much better. They could have, when you really think about it, you had the caliber of talent in there that could really carry a good match. Like, they were capable of a 4-star match. They just didn't do one. And I know that's because of the WWE limitations, because they had this fucking weird thing where they don't want a match being too good. And I don't know why they do that. Because they've always done that. They don't want wrestlers on pay-per-view who open the show to steal the show, because they always want the main event to steal the show, so they tell them not to go as hard. And it's just completely ridiculous. So this show starts off with it like it has the past couple of weeks. Video packages up the ass on both wrestlers. And this whole thing with Michael Cole and JBL, like, talking to each other, trying to hype this match, doing this really phony sounding, cue card scripted, dialogue between one another. It doesn't work. Especially coming from JBL, who is a guy who's known to, like, shoot from the hip when he commentates. He says a lot of things that, like, come out of his own mouth and not through the earpiece. So it's very weird to hear JBL talking in this fashion. It sounds artificial, contrived, you named it. It's not working. So, and then we have the match, and like I said, it was decent, but it could have been better. And, the fact that Kofi wins this match, they're making like this is the first time he's ever won the title. Matt Striker runs in like a giddy little schoolgirl. Oh, Kofi Kingston, let me suck your cock. I'm so happy that you finally won the title. Like some fucking groupie. They make Matt Striker like act so womanly. Like he's frillily like interviewing him. Oh, Kofi, you're so great. Let me suck your black cock. I mean, come on. The fuck's going on here with that shit right here? This is like Kofi Kingston's like 16-time Intercontinental Champion. He's almost as great as Ric Flair. I mean, this guy, that Kofi Kingston is never going to get beyond that Intercontinental Championship. That he is not like he's a good wrestler, but those guys that like you just know are not going to be like world champion. Like, remember, like, just like off the top of my head, like Mark Merrow, for example. I always thought he was a fantastic wrestler, but I knew that he wasn't like worthy of the main events because he just like didn't have like, you wouldn't respect him like being like in a pay-per-view match with The Rock. The same thing. Like if they put Kofi Kingston and John Cena out there, or like Kofi Kingston and CM Punk, like, that's not going to get buy rates. It's just, he doesn't look like a main eventer. He's never going to get past that Intercontinental title. He's going to be like a 32-time Intercontinental Champion, and that's it. I mean, like, he's stuck in the mid card for life. He, you know, like, I guess you could say he's in the upper mid card now, whatever the fuck that means. You know, but he's never going to be a main event. And I know that the PG defenders are, they're like acting like fucking gorillas, like probably banging their computer screen, listening to me say this. Like, you know, like look at things realistically. You know that he's never going to be a main eventer. So, you know, these wrestlers, I want to say that they're like, their careers are pointless, but he is good. It's just, he's one of those guys who just doesn't have that main event quality. He's just not there yet and never will be. Okay, so then, you know, the fact that The Miz lost the title is just, you know what I mean? Having, like, Miz job to Kofi, it's just, Miz should be wrestling Punk for the title, not Ryback. That's my personal opinion. I think that The Miz has jobbed enough. I think he's, like, really, like, paid his fucking dues, because they have made a fool out of him for 2 fucking years. And, you know, this guy is very loyal to the company. You never hear anything about him complaining about jobbing. He's very happy to work for them. I think, like, they should fucking cut him a break and, like, give him another shot at the main event. God knows he's, like, the best talker out there. So I really don't know what the fuck they're doing with The Miz, where he goes from here. Maybe the unemployment line. Because, I mean, like, what if they're not going to put him in the main event? What are they going to do with him? You know, like, this Kofi-Miz feud, it can only, like, continue for so long. And then what does he do after that? I mean, he'll probably get, like, you know, a rematch on Raw. Or they'll probably, like, save it for the pay-per-view or the pre-show or something like that. Yeah, watch it be on the fucking pre-show or some shit like that. So anyway, you know, you would think, like, that's it. That was the big match. That's the main event. No, they don't end it there. They do this weird thing on main event where here's the main event. And then they give you, like, some little match after that. Some shitty jobber match. Like, they have no idea, like, how to end the show on a high note. And I don't know why they do this, but you got the main event kicking the show off, and then they've been giving you, like, these shitty little matches at the end. So it's Zack Ryder versus Dolph Ziggler. And this is, like, a 3-minute match. You know, it's like it's like a match you would see on Raw, basically. And this is called the main event. Like, so Ziggler gets on the mic and challenges anybody to, you know, to face him at main event next week. And who do you think comes out? Fucking Ryback. The fucking Rytard. I mean, so this is how it goes. Ziggler, a man with a small penis, beats a nerd, and then a retard comes out. And, you know, like, you know that Ziggler is going to job next week, so he's going to look even more pathetic. I mean, this is probably what they're doing. You know, everybody is, like, screaming the same fans in the YWC, and just, like, forget about the fucking YWC. Just the fans in general don't want to see Punk and Ryback. You know, I even see here on YouTube, even Sean's View Entertainment is even admitting that Ryback ain't ready for the main event. And so, with all this backlash, now they're going to put him against, you know, a main eventer. You know, a main event jobber, Dolph Ziggler. And so Ryback's going to beat him, and somehow this is going to be the reason why he deserves the title shot. Like, that's the WWE's logic. Oh, everybody's complaining. Okay, we'll just have him go over Ziggler. That's their attitude. You know, okay, so we need to put this guy over. Let's put him over Ziggler. Dolph Ziggler is supposed to be like world champion in a couple of months. He's Money in the Bank, and he just is a jobber. He is a main event jobber. I've never seen anything like this. Like, we're gonna, like, build this guy. He's the future, but he's a jobber. Like, what are they doing with him? And, like, how the fuck does the show end this way? It's main event, but the main event goes on first, and then a little shitty jobber match goes on last. So isn't that the main event? Like, how are they fucking booking this show? I said it once, I said it twice, I've said it 15,000 fucking times. And I will say it again. Because, it just deserves to be said. They have no idea how to book these fucking shows, and this one especially. Main Event is fucking worthless. And why is it worthless? They have 5 other hours of programming. 5 fucking hours. Raw is 3 hours. They couldn't even do a fucking decent 2-hour Raw. They extended to 3 hours. They put a bunch of fucking guys who don't even deserve to be on that show in little shitty matches. They could have had Miz and Kofi on Raw. They could have had this Miz and Kofi on Raw instead of the other shorter one. And more people would have seen it. Instead of putting it on the fucking Ion Network, which, most people probably don't even get that fucking channel. And I don't understand, why they have to have another fucking show. 3 shows. Whenever they have this many shows, it never works out. ECW failed. Sunday Night Heat and Velocity, they were all relegated to the internet eventually. They tried to bring back Saturday Night Main Event, and NBC didn't want to have any part of that fucking bullshit after a couple of episodes. So there you go. It just, history shows that 3 wrestling shows a week is way too fucking much. And they should just work with what they have. I mean, they're given 5 hours of programming each week. That is a lot of fucking hours. This is they have more time to work with than any other form of entertainment in television history. I mean, the WWE has a lot of fucking time to work with. I don't understand how the fuck they manage to have shitty shows. I was really just thinking about that tonight watching this. I was like, how the hell did they fuck up 5 hours, now 6 hours of television every single week? And, like I said, this wasn't a bad show because you had Kofi and Miz, which was a decent wrestling match. It could have been better, but it was decent. But then they throw on this shitty little jobber match, and that kind of kills the momentum of the show, and it ends like shit. Because then you realize that you have to watch a shitty match next week. I mean, I don't know. It's like WWE just seriously does not give a fuck. They are booking these matches. I mean, I picture, this is WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. I think that Brian Jurwitz, or whatever the fuck his name is probably a chimpanzee. I always picture there being 100 cubicles. This is the writing department. This is the night before Monday Night Raw, which they say this is usually when they write the shows, at the last minute. It's a room full of chimpanzees, and they're just typing away on the keyboard. And, whatever the fuck comes up on the keyboard, that's what they're going with. And there's probably asterisks and percent signs, and I guess this is how Vince McMahon interprets it. He just is oh, okay, so this doesn't make sense. So I guess the show is not going to make sense either. So there you go. Give you a little inside information. WWE is booked by chimpanzees. There you go. You're welcome.